Hello everyone. Today we have very special guest with us, Hemendra Mathur, who has been a key advisor and board member for SatSure. So it has been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
Please give us your introduction to our audience.
Hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be part of this event. As mentioned, I'm a board member at SatSure. Apart from that, I do early stage investing into startups across sectors, but specifically into deep tech, agri-tech, fintech, and climate tech. I also advise government, state government, central governments, multilaterals, and some foundations on building a strategy for driving innovations in agriculture for the benefit of farmers.
So I would like you to share some insights into the intersection of the remote sensing, the observation and analytics part, and connecting the last mile to decision intelligence.
Yeah. So absolutely, in fact, it's the SatSure team which taught me how useful is remote sensing for Indian farmers. So I think if you look at Indian farmer challenges, the biggest is access to good markets, access to good advisory, access to credit, access to insurance. And thankfully, remote sensing captures a lot of data points which can solve for it. So let's say if you know which crop is getting harvested when, in what quantities, potential yields, companies can plan procurement and farmers can decide where to sell, right? Likewise, the data that you capture through remote sensing can be used a lot by the bankers to lend to farmers, because they're looking for underwriting tools, and a lot of underwriting involves getting data about the farm, the soil, the weather. And I think that's the beauty of remote sensing, that you capture all of these data points at scale. So I'm not talking about 100 farmers or 1,000 farmers, which probably banker can do themselves. I'm talking about millions of farmers. And that's where I think remote sensing has proved, and thankfully the SatSure product, which is very popular among banks now, the credit score report for farms, a lot of banks are using that, right? So I think, to me, remote sensing and agriculture can go together. They're very interesting intersections of space tech and agri-tech and fintech and deep tech. And that's where I also joke that it's hard to define what SatSure is. It's at the intersection or cusp of all these innovative technologies, which we have not just built but also demonstrated its application.
So I would like to understand and let our audience know more about the crop intelligence, what we are driving impact to our millions of farmers. You can throw some light on that.
Oh, absolutely. So, as you would know that India has 2 or 3 crops in a year, and farmers derive majority of their income by selling crops. And if anything goes wrong with the crop, their livelihoods get impacted. So I think there is a lot of potential for technologies which can predict, let's say, pest attack, for example, which can accurately estimate soil nutrition, right? Because all these data points help farmer to make the right decision. What fertilizer to put in, when to spray pesticides, when to irrigate the field and all that. So yeah, of course, farmers have a lot of conventional wisdom, which is very helpful. But I think if you can complement that with data and decision-making tools, then it becomes far easier for the farmer. So, and interestingly, lots of farmers are very open to adopt new technologies, but yeah, they need to see benefit, and they are even willing to pay for it.
Looking at the growth of the verticalization of earth observation agriculture, would you like to throw light on different like agri-insurance, ag input, and ag tech companies, if you would like to share some inputs in that?
Yeah, so as I said that agriculture is clearly a very important sector for a country like India. Though in terms of GDP it contributes about 15%, but almost 50% of India's population is dependent on agriculture, right? So to that extent, it needs lot of impetus, especially from an innovation perspective. Right. And as I always say, if we have to achieve the goal of Viksit Bharat or startup lens or innovation lens, is also should also move from cities to villages.
Yeah.
And that I call it a Bangalore to Baki challenge. That you are developing things in cities like Bangalore, but applications are in the remotest part of the country. And that's where I see the next wave of entrepreneurship will be very much Bharat focused, which is rural India, and it will also complement the wave of rural entrepreneurs that we are seeing in villages. So let's say, for example, in remote sensing, we also do a lot of ground truthing.
Correct.
Now, where is that data going to come from?
Yeah.
That is going to come from people who are sitting in those villages, right? And they should be trained how to collect data, how to report data, things like that. And likewise, there are like multiple, since you talked about agri-tech, it is opening up a lot of opportunities for rural youth to look at new professions beyond farming. For example, managing a warehouse, managing a cold room, then flying a drone, beekeeping. I think a lot of these ancillary industries or business models which never existed are kind of getting more and more prominent because there is some tech solution which is making it work both technically and commercially, and it has a direct impact on the rural incomes, and I guess it can improve incomes, it can improve it can open up a lot of opportunities which a farmer so far has not been seeing, and it can also help farmers to participate in the value chain. Typically, farmer in India is a producer, not a processor, not a distributor, not a marketeer. But I think a lot of these agri-tech opportunities can open windows for him to become a participant in the value chain and earn more money and more margins.
So looking at it like we are more of the adjacent, companies like us are more of the adjacent helping, enabling.
Absolutely.
Farmers, yeah. And coming to the other use case implications like disaster response or something which you can highlight upon, climate resilience.
So climate is another big challenge. I think we have all
Especially
seen,
in India.
especially in India. I think world over,
Yeah.
like European countries have seeing extreme temperatures. This year we saw almost all monsoon months reporting higher rains than normal. In fact, a lot of rains happen at the time of harvest, which is a kind of a tragedy for a lot of farmers because they work hard for many months and suddenly one fine day there's excess rain and your crop is lost. So any predictive intelligence on the extent of rainfall or some unusual weather parameter which can adversely impact crops is so helpful. So I think that is very critical. Also, I think a lot of financial institutions also will start using climate data for underwriting, and climate finance, or let's say green finance, will become more and more popular to either support climate friendly technologies which can, let's say, improve water use efficiency, which can reduce crop loss, which can reduce the use of chemical fertilizers. I think a lot of these models can come if you have financing available, and thankfully the climate finance is an opportunity which again needs a lot of data, right? And remote sensing again has a big role to play out there.
You already answered my next question because I was about to ask, like, we have a SatSure report and taking decisions, enabling farmers to take decisions, bank for farmers. But now what next we can expect from geospatial analytics and remote sensing? What next level of innovation we can look forward to?
Oh, absolutely. I think sky's the limit for any remote sensing company, especially likes of SatSure, which has been the pioneers in building a lot of innovative products. I think a lot of solutions around climate for sure, because I would say still a lot of solutions are at a nascent stage and need a lot of hand-holding, regulatory support, policy support, a lot of collaboration for scale. So I think that's going to pick up. I think your ability to not just capture data from space, but also your ability to triangulate data from the ground, especially soil data, water data, crop health data. I think those are the intersections which are still not very well established. So I think that's where the opportunity is. So as SatSure, we should not see ourselves as necessarily as a remote sensing company. We are a solutioning company, right? And of course, remote sensing is a core pillar of what we build. But frankly, for that data to be more impactful and sort of meaningful to the end customers, you will need a lot of data coming from the ground, and that's where I see new opportunities, building multiple use cases which have not been tried and tested. I think, for example, rural logistics, is a big space. How do you optimize road construction? How do you optimize routes? Logistics cost for most agri businesses is somewhere in the range of 7 to 12%.
Okay.
So if you can bring that down, that's a big use case. If you can do some sort of village ranking, basis some parameters in terms of their, you do, we do. Maybe
Yeah.
sort of make it more commercial,
More
and
commercialized.
yeah, where we can map their consumption patterns and things like that. I think that will be fantastic. A lot of effort need to go in even promoting ancillary industry. I know what we can do in dairy, for example.
Yeah.
It's a large sector. If we can solve for the challenges in the dairy sector, that again we need to think through it. How remote sensing can play a role out there. But building of warehouses, we need so much of storage capacity. Now tell me what are the locations where I should be building warehouses, for example. That is a function of how much crop is getting harvested in a vicinity. How do you estimate that crop harvest is remote sensing? So I think these are the interlinkages.
Yeah.
Likewise, if you are building even market yards, new government is focusing on building new market yards. What are the right locations to build it? Location intelligence come into play. But as I said, this is not necessarily just the remote sensing data. You have to be open to look at other data points, which can give more substance to our solutions, and which can create some unique customer value proposition. So I think we need some bit of creativity also in evangelizing these products, and test it out and see the monetization potential. I understand SatSure being a startup, it's not that we have unlimited resources to build new products and just try it out. For us to getting a validation at a very early stage of product development cycle is so critical.
Yeah.
I think these are great ideas, and I know we are working on some of it. But yeah, we can do far more.
That leads to my next question, which you subtly already answered. It's like earlier the space tech or space ecosystem was only accessible or meant for defense and stuff. Now slowly it's coming to commercialization, and more than commercialization, there is a mid layer where it comes more on creating impact nation across, and then it comes into picture. So how do you see, what is your advice to the growth mindset for the leaders coming into this agriculture thing who want to use remote sensing or space ecosystem?
Right.
Because the tandem between the investment and, as you said, we have to continuously do research, right? And then you have to also do innovation and also delivery. So how do you see to balance the right tandem between all this?
Yeah, I think that is very important, that whether we like it or not, a lot of solutions are require multidisciplinary approach.
Correct.
Because the problem that we are solving are also multidimensional, right? So let's say specifically looking at agriculture, if I have to solve for it, I need expertise on remote sensing. I need expertise on maybe hydrology, meteorology, agronomy, behavioral science. So ultimately, it the scalability of solution is dependent on.
So we may have to repeat maybe this question. You can start from agriculture when you start.
Okay, yeah. So coming specifically to agriculture, I think the problem that we are solving are multi-dimensional. So we need a multidisciplinary talent to solve for it, right? That's where you not just need remote sensing, but you need agronomy, meteorology, hydrology, behavioral sciences, because it's all about changing the behavior of the farmer, right? And how do you do that? I think that's where it has a huge implication on what we are teaching at schools and in schools, in colleges. I'm an agricultural graduate. I know we never learned about data science, for example. A lot of data scientists don't know what agriculture is all about, right? So I think that diffusion of multiple streams in a way that it kind of develops the talent even at the foundational level in colleges and universities, I think is becoming very, very important, right? And I think even as a company, we should aim for building multiple talent pools which bring diversity of perspectives to the solution that we're providing. And I know it's a kind of rare talent, and it's hard to get that talent, but since we understand the needs of the industry, maybe we can make our bit by at least sensitizing the educational institutions about the need for this talent, and at least wherever it is available, sort of also making some hires and who using them for building these solutions. But yeah, I think that's the way forward. I think in this industry, it's all about the talent, the tech talent, talent to build solutions, sell solutions. That's the biggest resource that we have, and I'm very proud that what we have built as a team in SatSure is probably one of the best teams in the sector. But yeah, we can do more. We should nurture the talent. Some will stay with us, some won't, but there's a lot of merit in doing it.
So you've been with us since morning, and how do you feel being in the Karman Week Grand Gala Day?
Absolutely. No. Actually, I had no clue about Karman Week. Even Karman, till a few days back, till I got a call that I should be attending it. So with absolutely no background in space science, I was a bit skeptical about what I will do. But yeah, the day so far has been very fruitful. Got to meet the Karman cohort coming from different countries, teams with very, very interesting perspective. It also validates some of the problem statement that we think. We see some bit of homogeneity in the way problems exist across the world. Yeah. It's not just a problem.
Yeah.
And good to see that there are some very creative ideas being put forth, especially around a need for change in policies and infrastructure and tech, how tech can solve for it, and impact on climate of some of these innovations which are coming up. So yeah, I think it's been a fantastic day, and really looking forward to the rest of the day, which is going to be super interesting. And really thank the SatSure team for hosting it, and hopefully it will build a very strong space ecosystem in the country, which is already there. But I think globalizing that is also equally important. Where calling people from all over the world makes a lot of sense.
So I mean, we can take this question before this Karman question, but we'll edit that. So I want to take this question as how important is to influence the policy makers, and also how important is the role of policy makers into driving this kind of impact nationwide or a global stage, especially in this intersection of geospatial, remote sensing, and agriculture.
Yeah, I think policy has a huge multiplier. Irrespective of how much we crib about the process of policy making and the time it takes to show results. I think policy to me is a huge multiplier in whatever we do. We can always demonstrate it at a client level, at a pilot level, but to multiply it by 1,000,000 or 1,000, you need a policy push, right? And that's where I think it's very critical for policymakers to be involved. Typically, these kind of technologies are not there, so regulations are either not there or they are very vague to begin with. But as a startup, as an innovator, we shouldn't be shy of driving some of these policy changes, which can improve our capability to, let's say, launch satellites and collect data and build interesting applications which are compliant with the regulations in the country, right? And in fact promote a lot of this innovation adoption. Let's say in financial institutions,
Correct.
the Earth observation data has been rarely used in the past, and that's where the RBI come into picture. I think in space come into picture, a lot of government departments come into picture. How do you drive adoption of the Earth observation data at scale for lending or insurance, right? That needs a policy push. We can always demonstrate it works at some scale, but as I said, if you have to work at a population scale, you need a policy push.
It's more of like a collective, cohesively developed.
Yeah, collectively, cohesively developed and adopted also. I think adoption is something
collectively done.
Yeah. Adoption is something we can't drive as a startup at a scale.
Correct.
Again, the government and government bodies and the workforce on the ground is very, very critical there. Likewise, in agriculture, the digital public goods is going to become more and more important.
Critical infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure, not just physical but also digital. So, like agri-tech and climate tech and dairy tech and soil tech, and there's so many. Yeah, this is all boiling down to building some interesting stacks, and because ultimately everyone is looking for authenticated data, and it's the government which is going to build it and own it, right? And it is for public good. It is not for any private use or specific use of any particular company or sector, right? So to that extent, I think policy has to move hand in hand with the innovations. It should support it. It should regulate it to the extent that it is not misused.
Correct.
But it should not cut the wings of the innovations which are possible, which can fly on it.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.